Hi everyone, I'm Sebastian and I'm a 16-year-old high schooler, but really, that's just my day job. You see, I'm also a technology services exporter, and my software products are used in over 100 countries. My products, they all harness the power of the cloud to make life easier. And they're all about connections, in that they connect you with your data so that you have it where and when you need it. Quicksand, for example, syncs your 50 most recently opened files with the cloud. So you never need to plan ahead. You always have the files you've been working on when and where you need them. This heat map shows the usage stats for one of my apps, MacDrop.Any. And you can see that I've got users in countries like the US, Germany, and the UK, but also places like Macau, El Salvador, and Mozambique. Today, I want to share my story and talk about my belief in the power of connecting and the great places it can take you. So, it all started when my Year 4 teacher, Mr. Hampton, introduced me to Scratch, an MIT-developed programming language for kids. I made simple games, and without even being aware it was happening, I was taken through a doorway into a fantastic new world of creativity, structure, elegant logic, and opportunity. So I saved up to buy my first computer at age 10 and started making online connections, joining Mac forums, participating in podcasts, and reviewing products for a Mac journal, which was great since I just moved to Paris and I didn't know anyone who shared my interests. So the tinkering and learning from others online led me to start creating little applets, mostly quick tricks to simplify tasks on my computer. After a while, I came up with an app which I thought was pretty useful, so I set it free on the Dropbox forums. The response was almost instant and pretty amazing. Dozens of people, some existing connections, but many entirely new, gave me heaps of feedback, and this spurred me on to make and release more free apps. So the next thing, at only 13, my apps were being reviewed in Lifehacker and the Wall Street Journal online, and websites around the world in Spanish, German, Japanese, and Norwegian. But up to this point, I'd been doing it all for love. Then, one of my users suggested I provide a way for satisfied customers to send me a donation. So I borrowed my dad's PayPal account and set it up. I set it up so that after someone had used my app 3 times, a box popped up politely asking if they'd like to send the creator a donation. The donations started rolling in, and they haven't stopped since. So, what have I learned from this experience? For starters, quite a lot about running a business. You see, it wasn't just a question of making the apps. I've had to provide support, manage a full inbox, write press releases, and make promo videos, as well as going to school, of course. And I've also learned that things are most likely to go wrong when you're on holiday. You see, in New York, while the rest of my family were off enjoying Central Park, I was stuck in the Fifth Avenue Apple store, frantically trying to fix some bugs. And then later on, while in Morocco, a review on a top tech site flooded my pay-as-you-go server, and I was left trying to top it up from my iPod Touch in the middle of the desert. I've also learned a lot about the power of connecting. From the start, I've benefited from lots of online collaboration, sharing ideas, help solving thorny problems, working with beta testers and people who translate my apps. So in turn, I've tried to help others. The source code of each of my apps is available on my website, so budding developers can take a look under the hood and see how they work. I also get lots of questions from them, and I always try to help, just like others helped me. So, what can young innovators and creators take from my story? For one thing, if you have ideas and you want to create things, have the confidence to throw yourself into doing what you love, even if you're not sure where it'll take you. In creative fields, particularly tech, distance, youth, and inexperience are no obstacle to collaboration and success. As they say on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. Focus first on creating something valuable and making sure it works. Then get it out there, get people using it and enjoying it. But don't assume everything has to pay from the beginning. I'm sure the fact that my apps were free greatly increased the audience my apps reached. But when you do start thinking about the money, consider the possibility of letting customers set their own price. I think it has a lot of potential, especially for young people and startups, particularly seeing as many of us have room and board covered at home. And maybe donationware can be relevant for bigger businesses too. I know Radiohead released an album that way in 2007. For me, every donation is another connection. A donation means that someone, somewhere out there, values my app and wants to acknowledge this, whether they pay €2 or $100. And often the donations come with cool messages like this one last week. Great work, you make my life easier. Greetings from Switzerland. I've got the satisfaction of knowing that every single one of my customers is getting value for money because they've decided what value it has to them. So, to sum up, it all comes down to Kiwis giving it a go and making those connections. As digital natives, young people have a huge leg up here, which we must take advantage of to help New Zealand succeed. For me, the excitement of making these connections is what's driven me to where I am today, knowing that every couple of minutes, someone somewhere out there has their computer use made that tiny bit easier because of the work I've done. So that's what keeps me going, and that's the power of connections. Thank you very much.